Good morning, Kootenai County. How are you doing? Get out here into the sunshine. Well, my name's Firefighter Tony Blasick. I work for Kootenai County Fire and Rescue. We'd like to welcome you to our very first attempt at a live station tour. We'll see how this goes. Please bear with us. This is our first time giving this a whirl. And I want to invite you guys to be a part of the tour as much as you can. I know that coronavirus has really slowed down our capability to get together. Yours at home, ours here at the station. And we miss having you guys come do our station tours. And we want to take this opportunity to try to bring a station tour to you guys. Like I said, we're going to do the best we can. I'm a teacher at heart, and I'm used to being able to interact with you guys on a personal level. So just staring at a camera is not necessarily my forte. As we go through our station tour, I also want to take this opportunity to kind of show you what it looks like for us with coronavirus. Things have changed for us the same as it's changed for you at home. Now, to try to get you guys to ask questions and to interact, we have a couple of books, and if you happen to ask a question, not a statement or a comment, but if you happen to ask a question, something that you want to know as we go through the station tour, please make your questions happen. Chief Isaacson, who is our EMS chief, is following us around with a computer, and if we do happen to pull your question, we're going to put you in a raffle to win one of these two books, and we'll mail them to you. Okay? So, if I showed up for work this morning, we're going to arrive at the station, and we have actually locked down our facilities due to coronavirus, and employees as well as the public are only allowed to enter and exit through one door at our fire station. So this is the one door that's been labeled as our entry point to go to work. So come on in, join us at Fire Station 1. We'll see how this goes. All right, come on into Fire Station 1. The first stop we're going to make as we enter our station is our coronavirus checkpoint. Everybody that shows up to work has to have their temperature taken and has to answer to our station officer as sick or not sick. So before I can come in, I got to take my temperature. I'll take mine. Okay, I passed. I got to take my video guy. He passed. I'm going to let Chief take his own. All right, so after we pass our coronavirus checkpoint, we answer sick, not sick. We're going to clean our shoes. We have brand new mats that'll allow us to clean whatever grossness might be on our shoes as we come in. Okay, now I'm going to bring Firefighter Matt over here. You'll notice that a lot of our guys are going to be wearing face masks. It's our coronavirus protocol that if we're within a fire station and we're within that 6 feet range, that we're going to be wearing some sort of facial covering. We have simple masks. You should be doing the same at home. Remember, for you at home, it doesn't necessarily need to be an official mask. It can just be some sort of facial covering. Okay? Now, what I'm going to have him do is show you how we're going to stage our gear when we show up for work. So Firefighter Matt is one of our brand new firefighters. He's a probationary guy. And so he's going to show up for work. He's going to come in. He's going to go to his gear locker and obtain all of the gear that he needs to go to work on the fire engine. So he's going to grab his helmet, his jacket, and the rest of his turnouts. And you'll notice he's also going to grab a red jumpsuit. We'll talk about that here in a little while. So he's going to make his way over to the fire engine. And he's just for now going to stage it on the floor outside the fire engine. The reason he's first going to put it on the floor and maybe just barely enter is because he may be exchanging with another firefighter that's going off shift. So he'll get his gear all set and ready for the day, and then we're going to move on from there. So everybody say, thank you, Firefighter Matt. I know you got to type it. We're going to do the best we can. All right, so after staging his gear, Now he's got to go get dressed. So he's going to head in to our fire station. Again, we're going to clean our feet, protect ourselves from coronavirus, and we might all be on the floor in the apparatus bay. Come on in. All right, so the first stop we're going to make is the dorm. We're not going to go through the dorm because that's kind of our firefighters' private space, but if you can come in, you can just take a quick peek through the dorm. Just like you at home, you guys have to keep your rooms clean. We sleep here. When we come to work, we work for 48 hours straight. So the firefighter will come in, go to his locker, get his uniform on, set up his bedding for the next 2 days. And just like your parents probably ask you to keep your rooms clean, we also have to keep our room clean or the captain gets really upset. So he'll get his uniform on and he's going to head back out to the apparatus bay. Chief Isaacson's telling me we have a question.
We have a question. Brian is wondering, why do we wear so much clothes?
Why do we wear so many clothes? I'm wondering if we're talking about the jacket and the pants that we're wearing outside, or if we're talking about our uniform.
Probably all the different things we have to wear.
So here in a little while, that's a very good question, and here in a little while, we're going to go back out to the apparatus bay, and I'm going to explain the pants and the jacket and the helmet and all the different things that we wear at that point in time. So I want you to hold on to that question for me.
And we have one more, and then we can move on.
All right,
this is from Chase Carpenter. Chase wants to know, when do you get to see your family?
So sometimes, under normal conditions, my family is allowed to come to the fire station, and we really want our firefighters and their families to come visit because it's 48 hours. That can be a long time. It's like being gone for a weekend every 4 days. But right now, with coronavirus, unfortunately, we have shut down the station to all visitors, including our own families. So right now, the only time that I get to see my family when I'm on shift is just like we're doing right now, FaceTime or WhatsApp or one of those types of things. Other than that, we'll leave our family in the morning and we don't go home for 2 more mornings, 48 hours on shift, and then we get to go home. Great question. We're going to keep moving through the station, and Chief Isaacson will keep asking me your questions. You're going to see a large bank of shelves right here with a whole lot of medical equipment. And when we get back out to the apparatus bay, you're going to see that we in Kootenai County, we also run the ambulances. So this is all of our medical supplies, and we can just come in, grab the supplies we need, put them back on the ambulance. All right, keep moving through here. I want to show you our washer and dryer. So when we come to work, we are responsible for all of our own laundry, all of our own cleaning. So when your parents ask you to do your laundry at home, just know that we as firefighters also are taking care of our own laundry. So just a little quick spot, and we're going to move on through the station. I hope you guys are going to enjoy the sunshine today. Get outside. Go for a walk or a hike or a run, do something physically active, get off those computers for a little while because I know we're all spending a lot of time on computers with our new e-learning. I want to take a quick minute and show you our radio station. As a firefighter, we all have to carry radios, so we each have individual radios that are assigned to the seats in our trucks. And then we also have a station radio that will alarm us when we're here at the station to tell us to go get on the truck. And we'll get to see that here in a little while, hopefully. Okay? We'll keep moving through the station. We'll talk at the offices here in just a minute. I'm sorry if I'm getting a little far away. I've never done this before. So we're now entering probably the most important part of the fire station, the kitchen. We all get hungry. I don't know about you guys, but I really enjoy eating. I walked in here this morning and they were making bacon, and it makes a belly happy. We ran into Firefighter Matt, and if you guys notice, he's deconning our hard surfaces. We have to do this the morning that we come on. We usually do it the second morning as well, and then the morning that we leave, we have to go through and decon all the hard surfaces. So Firefighter Matt right now is going through and cleaning the kitchen. So Next time your parents give you a hard time about chores, just think we're also doing chores here at the station. Join in the fun. All right.
I'm about 4, whatever you want.
Okay.
Answer.
We'll kind of keep going. Now, you'll notice that we have 3 different refrigerators. Why would you have 3 refrigerators? That seems silly. Well, we have 3 groups of people that work at the fire station, 3 shifts. And so each shift has their own refrigerator. And we have to go shopping right now before we come to work. Prior to coronavirus, we would show up to work, get all of our gear situated, and then one of the apparatus would go to the grocery store to get food for all 48 hours. With coronavirus, for example, I come to work tomorrow morning, so as soon as I'm done here, I'm going to go to the grocery store because we send one person to the grocery store from our family, and I'm going to do the shopping for my family and for the fire station for the next 48 hours. So, Chief said we had a couple more questions, so let's see if we can answer 1 or 2 of them.
We've got a couple. Diana is asking, what happens when you don't get an alarm for a fire?
What happens when we don't get an alarm for a fire? Great question. We get alarms for all sorts of things here at the fire station. We get alarms for fires. We get alarms for car accidents, for medical alarms, and we also will get alarms for interfacility transfers when somebody needs to go from one hospital to another hospital. We also typically, non-corona time, have to go out and do business inspections, and then we try to spend some time working out and training. So very little time actually gets spent wasted. We're really pretty busy throughout the whole day.
So some people want to know why Matt's not talking, but we'll go on. Sammy Blasick is asking, what is decon?
Sammy Blasick. Hi, Sammy. He's actually my nephew. Sammy, what decon means is to decontaminate. So with coronavirus, it's a virus. Some of the particles can land on hard surfaces. And so we constantly have to clean and use chemicals in this situation to try to kill the virus.
Derek Wilson wants to know how much we appreciate our dispatchers.
Dispatchers. I can tell you what, I got to go to dispatch. Thank you, Derek, also. I got to go to dispatch on my probationary year and spend 4 to 6 hours with a dispatcher. And I can tell you, they have 3 or 4 computer screens going. They are monitoring many channels and many events all at the same time. I could not do their job. We don't get to go out to emergency calls without our dispatchers. They are the first line, and then they send us on the way.
Okay, Elliot wants to know how many firefighters are on each shift.
How many firefighters are on each shift? This number for Kootenai County Fire and Rescue has just changed. We just hired 9 new guys. So we currently have 20 on each shift on a normal day, as long as nobody's out sick or on vacation. We should have 20. So at Station 4, which is over near the Kroc Center, we have 3 people on duty. At Station 3, which is on 16th and Highway 41, we actually have 6 on duty. We have 6. Right, sorry. We have 3 on the ladder truck, 2 on the ambulance, and also a battalion chief works there. Here at Station 1, we have between 5 and 6, depends on if we have 3 or 4 on the engine and 2 on the ambulance. And then finally at Station 2, which is on Pleasant View and Celtice, we have 3 or 4 firefighters out there. It just kind of depends on the shift. One more question, then we're moving on.
Madeline is wondering, do you guys slide down a pole when you get a call for a fire?
Oh, I wish, Madeline. I wish we had a fire pole. However, in our area here in the Northwest, most of our fire stations are a single floor, or we mainly live on one floor if they are multiple floors. Fire poles, for the most part, have gone away from the fire service. There are still some places, in particular high-density cities like New York or San Francisco, where the fire station is built on, or the house part of the fire station is built on top of the apparatus bay, and and they may still have a pole, and they may or may not be able to use it. Just kind of depends. Kind of fire poles are kind of going away.
Can I ask you one more, Firefighter Tony?
All right, Chief. One more question.
People are really wanting to know who the best cook is. And we're in the kitchen.
Ooh, the best cook. The best cook is the person cooking.
That was Riley that asked that, by the way.
Thank you, Riley. But the best cook is the person cooking, because they're the one taking the time to make food for everybody else. So we do typically share responsibilities. Some guys are better than others. Sorry, Daniel, I'll never eat your food again. My digestive system never worked better after you cooked. Okay, so we're going to continue moving on. If you notice, at our station, we have a very large table to accommodate all 5 to 6 people that work at this station. Unfortunately, with coronavirus, we kind of all have to sit as far apart as possible to maintain that 6 feet, because it's really hard to eat with a mask on your face. But we're doing the best we can with that. But mealtime for us is very important, because it gives us a chance to talk to each other about the calls that we've been on, and it kind of helps us decompress from all those alarms that will go on throughout the whole day. Now, as we go through, you will see our recliners, and we do have a TV here. But I want to make sure you guys are aware that unlike the TV shows that you may see, we don't actually get to spend a whole lot of time here. So if you notice, we have 6 people working here right now, and not one of them is sitting in a recliner. So we spend a lot of time on calls, training, writing reports, and if we do make it to the recliners, it's typically right after dinner and before bedtime if we have spare time. Most of the time we're still writing reports. All right, come on in. So the next place I want to show you are our offices, and we actually have Captain Brown. So we'll have you come in. Everybody say hi, Captain Brown.
Hi guys, glad to have you.
He works hard in here and keeps us all on the ball, and he's the guy that's in charge. Look over here, we got Firefighter Matt again. He's studying away.
Hi guys.
And Firefighter Clark, or Engineer Clark. He's the guy in charge of driving the fire truck.
Hi Brinley and Atlee.
Always saying hi to his own kids. He hasn't gotten to see him for what, 36 hours?
Yep.
It's 24 hours, somewhere in there. Okay. One more office, because again, we have 6 people. We have Firefighter Maurice. Oh, that's a neat mask. I like it. Homemade? Did you make it?
No.
No? All right. That's good. All right. So, as you can see, we spend a lot of time writing reports. So you guys at school, how important is it for you to make sure that you're doing all your online school? Because we need you to learn how to write and do math, because we use that stuff here at work all the time. All right. Keep on moving. Couple of bathrooms, couple drinking fountains. And you know, at home, when you guys have to clean bathrooms, you might have to clean 1 or 2. We actually have, let's see, 1, 2, 4, 6. We have 8 toilets we have to clean. Firefighter Matt is busy on his last day. All right, come on downstairs. We'll try to find some lights.
While you're going down the stairs, they're asking what that black thing in your ear is, Tony.
Oh, the black thing in my ear. Yeah, so this is my earpiece, so I can hear sound coming from you guys, and then also it's my microphone, so if I get too far from the camera here, that you guys can still hear me talk. So it's kind of weird too. I'm not used to having it in my ear. All right. So the next place I want to take you is into our training room. I told you that we spend a lot of time training, and when we're not on coronavirus time, we will from time to time get together with other fire stations. And if you look, we got a computer, we've got a big screen TV, so that we can also do online training, which is what we're doing a lot right now with the coronavirus. We will have one station kind of be the lead on like a Zoom type thing, and then all the other stations can interact and get to see the presentation. We will also hold meetings down here, and we also hold our medical training equipment down here in this room. All right, keep coming on. So how's it going so far? You guys, is this going well for you? I hope so, because right now you don't get a choice. You're stuck with me. All right, a couple dark hallways. I apologize. Maybe lights. Uh-oh. Oh, there we go. They're coming. Motion sensors. All right, so I want to bring you into what is my favorite area of the firehouse. I hope you guys are getting a chance to get outside, run, play, ride your bikes, and get some physical activity in. I used to be actually a teacher. I was a teacher for 11 years before I became a firefighter, and I was a PE teacher. So the gym is one of my most favorite places, and we have lots of different equipment for us to stay healthy on. We've got our Stairmaster, treadmill, we've got weights, and so we try to make sure we get down here approximately an hour a day is our goal. Again, that is completely dependent on call volume and training and everything else that we have to try to fit in our day. But we do try to get down here about an hour a day. All right, let's head back upstairs. Chief, do we have any questions as we're walking back upstairs?
We do, and they're fire truck related, actually, Tony. One of them wants to know, this is from Chrissy. She wants to know how many gallons of water does our truck hold?
Ooh, our fire truck. Good question, Chris.
Pin that one for upstairs. We're heading.
So, our fire truck here at this station holds 750 gallons of water. So, 750, you know, the milk jugs that you have in your fridge, imagine 750 of those is how many we carry. Now, those of you that need a math problem to do, I want you to look up the weight of water per gallon and then try to figure out what the weight of just the water on our fire trucks is. That'll keep you busy for a little while after our presentation. Okay, keep coming. All right, so we're going to head out to our apparatus bay and show you the trucks. I know that's probably the biggest reason most of you are here. No, we'll do it once I'm done going through the ambulance and tender. Okay. Or after I'm done going through the engine. Okay. Thanks, Captain. All right, so the first truck that we come to is our ambulance. Go ahead and pan around and take a peek at it. We run with typically 2 guys on the ambulance. One is a EMT basic at least, and also a paramedic. So all of our ambulances at KCFR are ALS. Show you a couple of the things inside. This is where we store most of the medical gear and jump kits.
There may be a call.
Okay. And it's a good thing we're getting this done because they may have to leave here really soon. But we got 2 different jump kits. We have our airway kit and our red bag, which houses all of our standard medical gear. Inside the patient compartment, we'll just try to come in here real quick before they have to leave. So come on in real fast and we'll let them get out of here. But we have the gurney, which is where the patient's going to be. We have our cardiac monitor. And then this is basically a rolling ambulance or a rolling hospital room where we have all the gear that we need to take care of a patient that's having an emergency. All right, we got to get out. They got to go.
Where are you going? How's it?
So if you look at Firefighter Shane, he's putting on a red jumpsuit right now with his mask.
Oh, baby.
And the reason for the red jumpsuit actually has to do with coronavirus. So we want to keep our uniforms as clean as possible. So he wears a jumpsuit and will go into the house wearing that, along with his mask, gloves, and his goggles. So let's just take a second. We're going to watch him take off here in just a second. The call hasn't even come in over the radio yet. They're just leaving a little early because somebody saw it on the computer. So we'll kind of back up here and watch him leave, hopefully. So like I said, we have 2 guys that run on this apparatus. And today, we're lucky enough to have 2 paramedics riding on the ambulance. That doesn't happen all the time. and it gives us a chance to have 2 ALS providers.
Yeah, the open door alarm.
So both guys put on their seatbelts, starting with the lights. How lucky are we that they're actually on an actual emergency? They're heading up to take care of somebody in house. Well, I'm glad we got that apparatus in. The next truck that we're going to take a look at is our water tender. In our area in Kootenai County, there are many areas that don't have fire hydrants, so we need to have a truck that carries a lot of water. So if you remember, our fire engines carry 750 gallons. This truck carries 1,800 gallons of water, and that's its main job, is to have water for us. We have a dump tank on the side of it, which I can show you here in just a second. We'll kind of go around each truck, kind of open things up, and if you have questions, go ahead and ask them. Chief Isaacson raising his hand, telling me we do have a question. Chief.
Kara Ramirez asked an interesting question. Now that Medic 11 drove out, she's asking, why do we need to use the siren? And Chandra followed right up with, why does the ambulance need to make that noise? So a lot of questions about what we just saw.
Okay, so we had 2 questions about why do we need the siren and why does the ambulance make that noise? Well, that's a really good question. If it is a big emergency, we have different levels of our calls: Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, Echo. And so when we get dispatched, our dispatchers, like Derek mentioned earlier, will assign a level of the call. For us, anything Charlie and above, Charlie, Delta, or Echo, we're going to run what we call code. That means we're running with lights and see. Let's listen to the dispatcher. And so the dispatch just came in over the radio. That's the sound that you heard. But Medic 11 saw it on the computer, and they actually left way before the dispatch, which is really good for us if we're paying attention and we see it on the computer. We don't always see it on the computer, and sometimes we need the dispatcher's precast to tell us that there's an emergency coming up. But the lights and sirens tell everybody else to get out of the way when we're driving. And so that's why your parents, if they have an emergency vehicle coming up behind them with lights and sirens on, that they carefully and slowly move over to the right-hand side of the road, slow down, and come to a stop so that we know that everybody sees us. Driving to and from emergencies is actually one of the most dangerous parts of our jobs because not everybody's always paying attention and looking for the trucks with the lights and sirens. So just kind of keep going through the tender here, showing you the different gear. We have water backpacks because this tender sometimes is used on wildland fires, so we have water backpacks that we use. Here we'll carry a chainsaw, a ladder, and a Halligan tool, and a few other hand tools. We carry some extra air bottles in these. So the air packs that we wear, and we'll show you guys that here in a little bit, we have extra air bottles for those. This chute is actually a dump chute. And when inside the cab, we have control over letting these out, and we can dump all 1,800 gallons in a very short amount of time. And so what we use is a dump tank. Up here behind this cover, we have a dump tank. It's a great big square that we can set up. It's like a swimming pool, actually.
Troy Carr just asked you what that was.
Oh, Troy. Hi, Troy. How you doing, buddy? It's a big square, like above ground swimming pool. Troy, ask your dad to set up the pool for you here in a little bit. And we can dump all 1,800 gallons.
We're getting some folks telling us that it's hard to hear you.
Uh-oh.
So let's keep the distance.
We're in the apparatus bay, so sorry it's a little bit hard to hear. Do our little best. But that water tank is 1,800 gallons, or it can hold 2,000 gallons, I apologize, so we can dump all 1,800 right into the tank. All right, let's just try to stay a little closer. I'm sorry, you're gonna have to pay attention to the good side, not the bad side. All right, more places to connect our water hoses. This is the big dump tank valve. We can stand up here and we can dump all the water into one of those portable tanks we just talked about, okay? We'll keep moving around. We carry some hard suction hose so that we can draft. So when I mean by draft, meaning we don't have a fire hydrant pushing water into our pumps on the trucks. We actually have to suck the water up out of that big, giant, above ground pool that I was just talking about. We have to pull the water from there into the pump and then either into our tank or out to all the hose lines. That's the job of Engineer Clark here at this station. So we'll kind of keep moving around. In this compartment, we carry our fire extinguishers, our wheel chocks, and then a couple of those backpacks with air on it that I was just talking about, our air packs, a couple flashlights, and then a whole bunch of different connections to be able to be used to connect different types of things. There's actually different kinds of hose threads for whether it's pipe or it's wildland. Just two different types of things that we have to pay attention to. Here's where Engineer Clark's going to spend the majority of his time if he's on a call using the water tender. This is the pump panel for our tender. Lots of different levers, and what they do is tells the truck where to send water. For example, if I pull this lever, it's going to send it out of this hose. We have different sizes of hoses to be able to use. And we'll show you where the driver gets to sit in the water tender. All right, are there any questions on the water tender itself?
Well, one question is, do you ever get in water fights, Tony? This is from Nicole.
Get into water fights. I would say mostly on accident.
So, and Sarah is asking, how long does it take us to dump all that water?
To dump all the water, about 90 seconds or so is on average. Okay. All right. So continue. Back to
one more question.
Yes, one more question.
Off the subject, Chandra is asking if we get to celebrate here when we have to work holidays.
Do we get to celebrate here when we have to work holidays? And the answer to that is usually yes. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. My shift, we worked Christmas Eve this last year, and we tried to do a big family, have everybody's families show up and everybody bring different foods, kind of do a potluck. And I was on the ambulance that day. My family showed up, and I was there for maybe 5 or 10 minutes because we kept getting calls to different places. So, yes, we do get to celebrate. Does it always work out? Not always. It just kind of depends on the day. Okay, great question. Great question. All right, moving along.
I'm laughing at some of the other ones I'm not sharing, Tony. They're great.
So, the next truck you're going to see is our brush truck. And we use this on all of our wildland fires or smaller fires that we can't necessarily get to with our big fire engine, because we have a lot of areas in our jurisdiction that are on dirt roads way back up into small places. So we take the smaller truck, and this is the pump for the truck, very different than the pump panel that we saw over there on the water tender. We have our different size hoses, all of our connection points, and we'll just kind of move around this truck and show you the different things that we carry here. So we have our hand tools for our wildland fires. We got our backpack pumps like we had on the tender. We have our chainsaw and water, because wildland fires is hard work. So we got to make sure we have water to stay hydrated. We always carry extra fuel and extra chains for our chainsaws. We have the passenger side of the cab, which is where the officer, Captain Brown's going to sit and direct us on where to go. Keep coming around. And if you notice our brush truck here, the front of it looks just like a regular pickup truck. You might have a dad or a mom, somebody's driving a pickup truck. It's pretty similar to any other pickup truck on the road. Kind of tight quarters in here. We'll make room for the camera guy to get around. So just like on the tender, we have all of our connection tools, all of our different adapters, some more different sizes of hose, extra oxygen tank for if we have somebody that's on a medical. And we actually carry some medical gear on this truck because, like I said, if we can't make it with our big fire engine, sometimes we'll take this truck, so we have to have some medical gear on it. All right. And then finally, just some cones and some traffic control things. Okay? Any questions on the brush truck, Chief?
No, but Emma is asking, what is your favorite part of your job?
Favorite part of my job?
From Emma.
From Emma. So, favorite part of my job is getting to come to work and helping our citizens on what is their worst day. So, if I can make a small difference for these people, then my day is fulfilled, and hopefully we can make whatever situation they're dealing with just a little bit better. So if we can accomplish that, then we've done our jobs. That's my favorite part. Everybody's got their own, but that for me is the favorite. All right, this station actually has a very unique apparatus, and this is pretty new to us, but this is our utility vehicle. And this is to kind of get into those really small areas, like at our Quinlan Park when people are back hiking or rock climbing. We'll take this vehicle to get into those really small places that our brush truck can't even go. All right, you guys ready to see the fire engine? All right, we're going to go through the fire engine. We'll walk around. I'll show you all the tools. And then Captain Brown just gave me the thumbs up that we are going to do a training evolution as soon as we're done going through the truck. So their entire crew is going to show you what it would be like if we got called to a fire right now. So we'll go through the truck and then we'll show you our training. Okay? All right. So this is engine 11. Okay? Like we said earlier, it carries 750 gallons of water. They'll show you all the different hoses and things that we use. Start off, we'll show you the boss's seat. Captain Brown sits up here. We've got the computer that shows us where we're going to go. You'll see the headsets that help us with the noise of the fire engine so we can talk back and forth and also be able to talk on the radio to dispatcher Derek and get the information we need to be able to get to the different emergencies that we're called to. Okay? In the back is where the firefighters sit. Sometimes we have one firefighter, sometimes we have two firefighters, and if you notice, there's two seats. Inside the seats, I'm going to climb up in here. You guys are going to get the good side of me here. Inside the fire engine, you'll notice that we have our backpacks, which is our air packs, and this is basically our lifeline. So when we go into a fire at a house, that smoke is really not good to breathe, right? That's why we teach all the elementary kids to stay low under the smoke, and we bring in our own fresh air to breathe in our face masks, and we'll show you guys that here in a little bit. But if firefighter Daniel can climb in, our video guy, we'll kind of show you the different things that we carry inside. This is a place to store some gear, so you'll notice those red jumpsuits. We carry some stickers and some flags for our veterans if we happen to go on a veteran. And then you'll notice more medical gear.
Cassie's asking why the headphones.
Oh, why the headsets? So we wear these headsets so that we can communicate. The fire engines are super loud, right? So we want to have the headsets on, and when we wear them like this, we can talk to each other in the cab. We can also, the captains and the engineers can talk through the radio right here on these headsets. So it protects our hearing and makes it so that we can communicate to each other. All right, let's see if I can get that off without knocking out my microphone here.
And then the next question is, why do you sit backwards from Chrissy?
So why do we sit backwards? That's a great question. Not every fire truck is created equal. Some fire trucks have them sitting forwards. It just kind of depends on the build. Sometimes it makes more room for cabinet space, like with our trucks. Plus, when we show up, we have some guys facing forward and we have some guys facing backwards, so we can see a lot more area of our emergency scenes.
And
Okay?
Christine wants to know if you have to wear a seatbelt.
Yes, Christine, we always have to wear a seatbelt, which is kind of interesting because if you're putting on your air pack and you're putting on your seatbelt, sometimes things can get tangled up. So we actually have to practice putting on our stuff so that we don't get all tangled up and buckle ourselves in. We got to make sure that we're always buckled when we're driving down the street. All right, let's keep moving on. One thing you're going to notice in here is that on the fire truck, we carry medical gear. In our area, if you call 911 for a medical call, like what Medic 11 just left on, you will get a fire truck and an ambulance to show up to your emergency most of the time. Our fire trucks typically are ALS, meaning they have a paramedic on them, and we carry medical gear so that we can start patient care even if we beat the ambulance to the emergency scene. So it's very important for us to be skilled in both things, both EMS and firefighting. All right, I don't really see a whole lot else in here to show you, so we're going to move on to the...
Just a transitional question from Jen and from Shasta, or from Mason.
Okay.
Jen and Mason both are asking
Hi,
how
Jen
much
and Mason.
schooling it takes to be a firefighter.
How much schooling does it take to be a firefighter? So, for our department, you have to have graduated from high school. You have to have at least an EMT basic. And typically, we like to see people that have their Firefighter 1 certificate. So EMT and Firefighter 1 are both about 4 to 6 month classes, somewhere in there, that you can take in the evenings or even full time. It just kind of depends on your schedule. But those are the minimum requirements. Then you have to go and take a test. So for us, when we hire here at Kootenai County, I had to go take a test for us. Depending on how well you score on that test, will then maybe get you an interview. After the interview, hopefully you end up getting hired. So it's actually a pretty long process in order to get hired, and it's really pretty competitive. Okay.
April's asking how many calls per shift, Tony?
How many calls per shift? Very much depends on which station you go to. For example, Station 1 yesterday ran 14 calls, Captain. They ran 14 calls in 24 hours yesterday. I would say on average, it's somewhere between 10 and 14, 10 and 16 calls for a 48-hour shift or set. Sometimes they run a lot of calls in one day. The most I've run in one day was 23 calls in a 24-hour period. It was really busy that day. But I've also had a 24-hour period in which I didn't have any calls. So, you know, we don't get to control when emergencies happen. We just get to respond to them when they call us. Okay. All right. So keep moving through all the different gear. Up here, you're going to notice we have what we call a Stokes basket and a couple of backboards to be able to carry people if they're hurt. And we carry the captain's hook, basically, is what we call it. The captain typically carries our Denver tool here. Okay. Now, the hoses. If we go to a fire call, most of the time at a house especially, most of the time you're going to see us pull this hose line. We call this our Attack 50, and it's just the way that we have our hose set up. This side is 200 feet. Just this row right here is 200 feet, and we can flow 185 gallons a minute out of this nozzle. So 750 gallons, 185 gallons a minute. That's your math homework for the day, is to figure out how long can we flow water. All right. Can you believe that? Firefighter Tony gives you homework? Ridiculous, right? Okay. Sorry, nieces. Bummer for you. Okay. Continuing to move on, we carry a fan to help push smoke out of a house that maybe had burned once we've put all the fire out. A lot of times we use this to kind of clean out the air in the structure. We have what we call the irons, which is an axe and Halligan put together. We carry flashlights because it's not always daylight when we're working. and a toolbox and some lockout tagout equipment. Extra air bottles. You'll notice on our truck we're going to have 4 extra air bottles. Okay. Some extension cords to hook those lights up to. Some different adapters for electrical. Different types of fire extinguishers to use on different types of fires.
Sadie and Erica both want to know if we have any women firefighters.
Sadie and Erica want to know about women firefighters. Yes, we do. We have actually 2 female firefighters that work with us. And one is an engineer working on her captain's task book. The other one just got hired with this group of 9 in January. So we do have women firefighters and would love to have more in the future. I never know, right? Never know. So this bucket that fell out is our decon bucket. So if we go on a fire, a structure fire, and then we have to clean our gear because sometimes we are covered from head to toe in insulation, and soot, and black stuff. And we got to use this to brush off and make sure that we try to protect ourselves from cancer is really what we're trying to make sure none of us get. Firefighters have a pretty high chance of getting cancer at some point. So we have a couple over-the-edge kits. This is our rope rescue kits. If we need to get somebody kind of off of a steep embankment, we carry extra ropes. We do have float rope. A couple throw bags for somebody that might be in some swift water to try to throw to them. And then some tarps and canvases for protecting people's belongings in a structure fire. We can pull all those things out and kind of protect them for them. Okay? We also, if you notice, these big yellow suits are those ice rescue suits. And if you have seen Deadliest Catch on TV, those guys that wear the protective suits when they're practicing their emergency, that's the same type of suit that we have so that if somebody falls through the ice, we can actually go in the water and try to get it for them. Okay? We also carry wetsuits for swift water during the summertime. Okay? Keep coming on back. All right, so now we're going to move towards the back of the truck. Up under here, maybe if I can flip this up. Anyway, you'll notice another bigger hose over here, similar to the ones that were up front. This is a 200-foot hose. It's a 2.5 inch and it has a smooth bore nozzle, and it can produce 324 gallons a minute. It's a lot in a very short amount of time. We have our 5-inch supply hose, so this goes from the fire hydrant to the truck, and we carry 650 feet of that. On this side, so you can tell we have lots of different hoses. On this side, we have 600 feet of 3-inch, which is typically a supply hose for us as well. And then a couple more hose loads that are that 1 3/4, kind of like the ones that were up front. Back here, this is the jaws of life. So if you if you're in a car accident and you're stuck in your car, you can't get out the door like normal, we're going to use these tools to help get you out. This is right here is like a giant pair of scissors that work really, really well. And these are our spreaders, so we can kind of stick the tips in between a crack in the door and spread it out and maybe be able to break that door loose. Up here we have our hydrant bag to be able to connect to a hydrant. We've got our RIT bag, which stands for Rapid Intervention Team. And this bag is to protect us firefighters when we're on a fire. We actually have a team at a structure fire, an entire group of people that are dedicated to going and helping firefighters if they get hurt while inside fighting a fire. Okay, and then we have our spill kit for hazmat stuff and for gas leaks and things of that nature. All right, we'll kind of keep moving around. Engineer Clark's going to kill me for opening up everything, but he'll be all right. All right, so going through some more cones. Okay, we have some forcible entry tools. So if your door's locked and you have an emergency at your house, we have some ways that we can get into your house to help you. We carry some extra tools, a sawzall, a drill, a chainsaw, a rotary saw, and then this stuff down here is again back for car accidents. We carry cribbing, step chocks, and then some tools to use for our stabilization tools. Okay.
Jacob asked, and I'm sorry the delay is a little bit.
Yep.
Jacob is asking why they call it the jaws of life.
Ooh, not 100%. I know it's just so that we can, the jaws of life, so we can kind of crunch our way into your car to save your life, is where that name originated from. All right. Up here, you're going to notice suction hose, similar to what we have on the tender, so we can pull water. Like if you have a swimming pool at your house and we need more water than what we have on the truck, we might be able to pull right out of your swimming pool. Just kind of depends. We have to make do with what we have sometimes. So in here, we carry some hand tools. This tool is called a bat axe, and a flathead axe, a halligan. On the back side, we've got bolt cutters and a maul and a bunch of other different hand tools to use for a bunch of different varieties. We got one other question, Chief?
A lot of questions.
Lots of questions.
I've had the same question probably 3 different times, Tony, so I can't give you names off the top. Why do we wear a flag on our uniform?
Why do we wear a flag on our uniform? I don't know about you, but I'm very proud to be an American, and our department is very proud to serve our community. So we wear that flag on this side. I was looking at my partner's shoulder over there, but we do wear our flag to show our support for our country. Okay, we love our country, we love our community. All right, so a couple more things. We carry our Little Giant ladder so that we can make different A-frames, maybe extend it out. It's got a lot of different applications. And just like on the brush truck and the tender, this is our engineer's compartment, and it carries all of our different adapters for being able to attach different size hoses. Okay? Here's Engineer Clark's pump panel. This is where he controls where all the water comes in, where it goes out, how much pressure we're putting it under. Most of our hose lines, like the 1 3/4 one that I talked about earlier, we pump that at 150 pounds of PSI coming from the discharge of our pump, so that we have 50 pounds of pressure at our nozzle. So you can tell that we use a lot of math here at the fire station. So you gotta practice up all that math and be able to do it in your head if you want to be a firefighter. Okay? Continue moving on. This is the 4th seat. So if we had a 4th firefighter here today, this is where they would sit. Okay? And then we have the engineer's seat. And if you can kind of get up in there, you can look, there's a lot of different buttons and controls to control this big truck. And if you look right up here in the top left, Daniel, there's a sticker up there that will tell you how big and how heavy our truck is. It's 10 feet, 8 inches long. High, not long. 32 feet long, and it weighs 47,000 pounds. That's a lot of weight going down the road, which is another reason we need people to make sure that they get out of the way if we have lights and sirens.
Hey, Bella asked a pretty interesting question. Can you control the hose lines from inside the car or inside the cab?
Ooh, Bella, great question. Can we control the hose lines from inside the cab?
Sort of like the tender?
Yeah, so the answer to that on this truck is no. We cannot control the hose lines inside the cab from this truck. However, the water tender, we can have some control over water in there. We are able to spray out of there we have bars underneath the bumpers, so we can spray water kind of like the water trucks you might see at a construction site. We can control that from inside the cab. And then we can also control dumping out of those chutes that come out of the back of the truck. We can control that from inside the cab as well, on the tender only, not on this truck or the brush truck. Those are all controlled from outside. So when it's wintertime, the engineer gets cold quick.
One more question. This is from Weston.
One more
it's
question.
kind of personal for you, Tony.
Okay.
Why did you go from being a PE teacher to a firefighter?
Oh, great question, Weston. Why did I go from being a PE teacher to a firefighter? It's a very loaded question. So I started out as a PE teacher. I moved into teaching some sports medicine, and in my last few years of teaching, I taught EMT basic at the high school level. And I loved teaching. I absolutely loved teaching. However, my wife's family is all from Coeur d'Alene and further north. And so we were looking to move up to this area, and this job opened up. I have a couple of friends that we started firefighting together in the Boise area, and they gave me a call and told me about the test, came in and took the test, and so here I am. Another question.
No, Dylan's got an answer for us on the weight of water. 23.5 tons of weight. That was from Dylan.
Dylan, very good on doing the math on how much the weight of the water that we have in this truck. All right, let's go take a look. Let's see if Captain Brown is ready to do our training. All right, he's giving me the thumbs up. So he's actually going to pull a little bit of a trick on his fire crew. They didn't know that this was coming. You heard that tone go off? He's now yelling at him saying, hey, we've got a structure fire. They're going to come out and they're going to get going as if we were on a regular call. So you're going to watch them. They're going to put their hoods on. They're going to put their bunker pants on. And just like you guys have to put but you don't typically have your boots already in your pants, do you? That'd be a little bit weird. But we need to so that we can get our clothes on super quick, okay? We'll see if the probationary guy gets beat by his captain or not. All right, so once they have all their stuff on, we're supposed to be dressed and ready to go in about a minute or less. Uh-oh, the probie got beat by his captain. All right, come on over here. We're gonna kind of make sure we're standing out of the way. Engineer Clark's ready to go. He does a quick check to make sure nobody's in the way. So lights and sirens to make sure we tell all the other people that are on the road that we're responding to an emergency, and to make sure that they pull over and get out of the way so that we can get by and get to where we need to be. So we're going to come on this side. They're going to come this So Engineer Clark just turned the pump on from inside. He's going and making sure that all of his controls are ready, and he's going to make sure the truck can't move by putting those wheel chocks down. Firefighter Matt's pulling what we call the bumper load, and he'll stretch it out and get ready to flow water. All right, so we're gonna get Engineer Clark to go ahead and turn his truck off so we can talk a little bit easier. But we're gonna have Firefighter Matt come on over. And we just wanted to take a minute to talk about all the different gear that he is wearing. All of the gear that he's wearing weighs somewhere between 50 and 70 pounds. Just kind of depends on the person and how much gear that they carry. But we got his helmet. You got to protect that brain, right? So he's got a good brain bucket. You better wear your helmets when you're out riding your bikes, okay? And then we've got his jacket, okay? If you notice, the outside is a very tough material, okay, to protect us from cuts and bruises, or cuts and abrasions, things like that. The inside actually has a vapor barrier and a thermal barrier. It's hard to see in there, but we have 3 different layers to our jackets and our pants. He's got his gloves on to protect his hands, okay, and his bunker pants and boots that you guys already got to see him kind of jump into. You'll notice his pockets. He's all carry a whole bunch of different gear in our pockets. Usually right lower is our life safety line, so that if we have to get out of a window quick, we can. Okay, and then everybody carries slightly different gear in the rest of their pockets. The big thing I want to talk about is this backpack. Okay, we talked about the air packs that we kept in the truck, and this lets us breathe clean air when it's on. But you guys all saw Firefighter Matt earlier when he was in regular clothes, and if we took his helmet off, it'd be the same guy underneath. So Firefighter Matt, if you would be willing, I'd like you to put your mask on and show everybody what it's going to look like if you're on air coming into somebody's house. So when he turns his air bottle on, you'll hear it makes that noise almost like he ate too much chili last night. So he's going to put his mask on. When he puts his mask on, he kind of looks like a frog. He's going to look and he's going to sound a little bit different. But it's still Firefighter Matt underneath there, and it's nothing to be scared of. He may look a little goofy when he doesn't have all this on, but when he has all it on, he's coming in to help you, okay? So, if you could wave to everybody and say hi.
Hi, kids.
He actually does talk, even though we didn't let him talk inside.
Sometimes.
But he looks a little different with the mask on, and he sounds a little bit like Darth Vader maybe, but he's super friendly, right? He'll give me a high five, right? So if he's in your house and he's going to be crawling on the ground, go ahead and crawl for me. He's going to be yelling, asking where you're at. Hey!
Is anybody in here?
Perfect.
Is anybody in here?
Go ahead and stop. If he comes into your house and he looks like this, I want you to go to him and give him a big hug. There is one rule that we have for anybody that has a fire at their house. One rule, and it's going to be scary. It's going to be a little smoky, and it might be a little dark. But the one rule that we have is that you can never, ever, 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 ever hide. You can't hide. We don't hide under beds. You don't hide in closets. And you especially don't hide in your fish tank. Okay? If he comes in your room, I want you to go give him a great big hug because he's there to help you. Okay? So, a couple questions, and then we'll send you guys on to the rest of your schoolwork.
Kinsley wants to know how hard it is for you to breathe when you're wearing the mask.
So, Kinsley wants to know how hard it is to breathe when you're wearing the mask.
Very easy. I have no difficulty breathing at all. It's actually designed to feed me air. And all the air I want. If I want more air, if I want extra air, I can turn this little valve right here. And it just free flows air to me. Just gives me all the air I want if I need it.
Okay. What else, Chief? Are there any more questions?
A lot of people, many people just saying thank you to you guys for doing this, and they want to see it again.
Okay. Well, if you guys really want to see it again, I want you to send an email. I'm just joking. I'm not going to give you Chief's email address. But if you guys really want to see it again, we can try to do this maybe once a week or so throughout the rest of this COVID, and maybe we'll go to different stations. So be watching our Facebook page. If we're going to do another live tour, or when we do it, I'll try to post it a day or two ahead of time, and we'll try to keep it Wednesdays at 10 o'clock. And in fact, maybe we'll just plan on next Wednesday, 10 o'clock, and I'll take you through my station, Station 4, because that's where I'll be working, as long as I'm not on an emergency call. Captain Knight, if you're watching, I'm sorry, but we just committed to it. Okay?
And don't forget about the drawing, and we'll pick the names and I'll message them through Facebook.
Okay, so the drawings, those of you that had your questions answered while we were out here today, Chief Isaacson will send you a message on Facebook if we pull your name out of the hat to get you those books. And we'll get your address, and we'll get it mailed to you. Okay? So I want to thank this crew here. So if we can come over, say thank you to Firefighter Matt.
Thanks, dudes.
Thank you guys for logging on. It was great to have you, and we're really glad you were watching today.
Thanks for watching.
All right. So thank you to the Station 1 crew. Thank you to Chief Isaacson. Everybody say thanks, Chief. All right. And thank you to Firefighter Clausen for following me around and videotaping. Hope you guys enjoyed the station tour. Hopefully we'll see you Wednesday next week. Have a great day.